Yay!
Looks like we're live. At least the UI says so, which is a beginning.
Welcome to the land of shiny, happy people.
Um, so, unless some of the points we indicate raise discussion, we don't have technical discussions um, for tonight. But tonight for me depends
This
for
afternoon.
others. Yeah, I know.
This afternoon for people in the civilized world.
Australia? Oh, no, sorry. Um, so the thing we wanted to cover today is what's next. So Milestone 2 was released last week. So what's next? Well, next is Milestone 3. That's smart.
Profound.
Um, the idea with Milestone 3 is to finish and improve everything around serialization. Try to have an XA integration, so transaction XA integration, and work around the cache statistics and store statistics, and trying to get
All
a complete
statistics, right?
story. Yeah, the whole of the statistics found, the whole statistics that we want both at one point to expose, but also clarify exactly what we collect and for what purposes, and how we present these to the outside world. And of course, this will be made so that we remain compliant with the GSR 107 decisions on that point. So these are the big features for the Milestone 3, but in addition to that, we keep on working on any bugs we find, either from our own testing or from the community, because we've started having a few bug reports. A few, but still interesting. Current plan for that is around 4 weeks from now for Milestone 3. And after that, we want to tackle the two large remaining tasks for Ehcache unclustered. One being the automatic resource control, or ARC. What will it mean in the context of Ehcache 3 is to be defined, but you should be able to find back the pools concept and the memory sizing for the heap tier that existed in 2x, probably with a few changes to make them more efficient and smart. Any comment, question on that, guys?
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to use terms like pool and stuff. We will support everything you. The intention is to support the same use cases.
Yes. And use cases being, I want a cache manager that's never going to consume more than X memory, and potentially it has multiple caches, and potentially these caches take a fraction of that place, etc., etc.
Well, there were two things that Arc did. One was to provide sizing in natural units. Natural being natural to the user, not natural to the implementation.
Yep.
And the other was to make it easier to handle configuring in excessively large numbers of caches when you didn't know what suitable capacities were. Now, we achieved that by allowing you to cap the size of the cache manager and have the caches tune themselves to share the space in the way they thought was best. Was that a fair characterization, Alex?
Yeah, yeah. So there were caches that you could size precisely in one or in whatever unit, and then you could size the cache manager so that the remaining of the size, so the cache manager is supposed to use is being split across all other.
Yeah, I was trying to really aggressively be a PM right then and not talk about
implementation or
what exactly the way that 2x worked or was configurable.
No. So clearly, the goal is to resolve the same use cases, not to do a
To reproduce this. No, hopefully we get to the same thing because we go, oh, this is a great way of solving this problem, and we should do this again.
No, but since we're breaking,
and because it would be nice for the 2x users.
Yeah. So that's one big thing. The other big thing that will be included in milestone 4 is the work around resilience strategy. So, which is the concept with the conceptual name we've tagged on everything that relates with exceptions happening inside the cache and how to deal with them. And so here the idea is that as long as we can maintain cache consistency, you'll have a default in place and you'll have nothing to do. But for specific corner cases where we know we risk getting into inconsistent cache states, the goal is to have you mandatory implement some methods that will be called when these cases happen, and you'll have to decide what should be done. Like throw the exception back to the calling thread, try to handle it yourself because you know your domain model, you know your application, and you think you have a way of getting out of the mess, etc., etc. But of course, while some of the hooks for that concept are in place, we've grown with features without making sure that it's the proper abstraction, it's used, and its use is consistent across the board. So that's why it's a big task also. And then the other two smaller things that we plan for that milestone 4 are polishing up the GSR 107 integration. So once we have all the Ehcache and clustered features, we really want to go back there, have a look, and check that the integration is as good as we can make it, as little as possible in the way of the performance, the execution, so that you get the same kind of performance out of a GSR 107 cache than you would get out of a standard Ehcache 3 cache. And the other one is OSGI. So the plan is to remain OSGI compatible, that is, have the proper bundle declarations on the manifest of the jar file, and also make sure that all the class loading we have in place actually fills up its role with regards to OSGI. I think that's it. And when we reach that milestone 4, we believe we have something close to GA in terms of functionality, but we don't want to GA that because we really want the GA version of Ehcache 3 of the 3.0 to also include clustered Ehcache. So I guess you've heard references in the past to that. That's for users, but maybe it's worth explaining a little bit what's going to happen on the platform side. So how are we going to cluster Ehcache? Well, we're going to cluster Ehcache by building again on the Terracotta platform, which, if you follow the news, has been re-open sourced as of its version 4.3. So it was open sourced in the 3x line. Then there was a period without an open source offering, but with the open sourcing of Offheap, we were able to re-open source the 4.3 platform. And so what Ehcache 3 will be built upon is the next version.
Well, one small thing. It never really was closed source. It was just not full. Bits that were there weren't sufficient by themselves. So it has a missing bit.
Yeah,
it failed.
There was no open source offering.
Since we're doing one small correction on that, it actually was functional. It's just nobody got told how to do it.
That's
true also.
Certainly was no downloadable.
There was no.
Yeah. It was sort of an Apple Darwin style open source.
Yeah.
Source code is all there, but no one told you how to compile it, and no one told you how to run it. But in principle, if you knew all the steps, you could do it and run it, and it would work.
Yeah. And so Ehcache 3 will do its clustering based on the next generation of that platform, which will be open source also. And we're currently working on making that code show up soonish, I'm going to say. I'm not going to give any deadline, but that's the plan. The plan is to have the bits and pieces that will make the 5.0 platform available soonish. If you look at the Ehcache 3 network graph, Abhilash has started working on clustered stuff, so there are already a few commits that reference Terracotta 5 platform libraries. But what we want is to make both the source code and the binaries available before we do any merge back to master anyway. So that's going to be the ongoing work. And there we have what we call the milestone 5, which would add a fourth store option to Ehcache 3, the clustered store. So that's the plan for milestone 5, and milestone 5 is targeted for the moment at the end of November, around the end of November.
Cool.
That's fair enough, guys, or do you want to add something to that?
I want to plug something.
You want to plot or plug?
Plug.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the reasons that the 107 polish is being done so late is because we wanted to push it out to being after the Jcache 2.0 BOF that will be happening at Java 1 in San Francisco on sometime in September. No, October. I can't remember when Java 1. Whenever Java 1 is.
It's end October.
Yeah. End of October. So if you work in San Francisco or you're coming for the conference and you care about caching and you want to either be involved in discussion at the BOF and trying to shape the direction of Jcache 2.0, or you just want to bend the ear of a bunch of people who implement Jcache 2.0, particularly the 3 people in this hangout, we'll all be there if I have to tie them to chairs.
No, we'll be.
Cool.
Well, at least that's the current plan.
Plus, bunch of developers, and I know at least Brian, Oliver, Spec Lead, and hopefully Greg will be there as well. And we can have a nice big discussion, and then we can all go and have lots of beer afterwards and have lots more discussion and figure out what on earth we're going to do with this spec in second version.
Yep.
So hopefully once that all gets decided, as lubricated by large amounts of alcohol, or not, as your case may be, I don't know, we can use all that information to help guide us on how exactly we polish, because we'll know in what direction the spec's heading.
Well, we'll know, yeah. We may have a better clue.
We may have a better idea of what way it's heading.
Right, because it's important that whenever, like any decision that's driven actually in 107 that impacts the lower bits of Ehcache, we need to make sure that, well, we don't want to change those over again.
No.
So
we want to come out, or at least we'll know whether things have definitely changed. If they haven't changed and there's still the same uncertainty, it potentially leaves us in an awkward position, but we'll hold out for Nirvana.
UM?
And if you don't come, we'll build a piece of calendaring software.
That works.
No,
sure.
Can we do that?
Can anyone do that?
That was impossible.
Pretty sure it's impossible.
Did I miss anything? Was there anything we want to add to that?
Not that I can think of.
Do we want to comment on open pull request?
What pull requests are open? Some awful thing about XML parsing and services and stuff. Looks terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't want to discuss that.
I keep hitting that part of the code. I know.
You're not going to make everyone use Gradle by default, right? You already decided that.
No, that's changed. If
cool.
you look at the.
Or was it actually already changed?
Yeah, I pushed, and I pushed also the proposition for the wiki addition to explaining how you're supposed to build the Ehcache 3. So we recommend that you configure the Gradle daemon. But
So I
if
can
you
merge
don't want
this
to
then,
do
right?
that, sorry?
I can merge this then.
Oh yeah, be my guest. If you're fine with it, you go ahead.
Okay, I think we're heading here, aren't we?
Yes, we can call it to an end.
Yes, sorry.
We really wanted to mention the upcoming milestones. I guess we have some work to do because probably milestone 4 and 5 are not.
I think they are.
Are they in GitHub?
Yeah. The
Yeah, they are. Cool.
the lead of this project is making an awesome job.
No, Alex is creating the milestones. I'm just pushing the release button so that my
Yeah,
name.
you're releasing those.
Except when you're on vacation.
Well, actually, no, he managed to do the
Steve
draft.
manages
so
to
he
get
says,
his name. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a mistake. So what I'm trying to do is that it shows as Terracotta having released. So
Yeah, we totally can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too. Okay, cool. That's it then.
On to the drinking. I mean, back to coding.
Working.
See you next week, guys.